Good morning, I'm Travis Seiler, and this is Today in the City. We're going to go out and see the Farallon Islands right now. It's rather socked in, as you can see, but this should clear off by about midday. The Farallon Islands are about 27 miles off the coast of San Francisco, known as the Galapagos of California. We're going to see an abundant variety of sea life, birds, perhaps some humpback whales. It's going to be amazing. So let's go. Also known as the Devil's Teeth among their many nicknames, the Farallons are technically within the city and county limits of San Francisco and are part of the greater Farallons National Marine Sanctuary. Teeming with birds and sea life and a thriving ecosystem today, despite many negative encounters with humans in their past, the Farallons are one of the most interesting places in the world to come and visit and an ongoing habitat restoration success story. Luckily, we're about to join the Oceanic Society aboard the Salty Lady ship today to go see the islands up close along with some of the many animals that live out there. If you've got your sea legs ready, we're about to travel through the foggy shroud and go have an adventure unlike any other. And if you already reside in San Francisco or nearby, it'll provide a whole new perspective to living there. The ancient Farallon Islands have been known by humans for quite some time. Frequently visible from the western side of the city on clear days, and appearing from the mainland as distorted smokestacks on the horizon due to the fata morgana mirage effect, this small chain of islands has always held an air of mystery to humans. The Coastanoan people who originally settled in San Francisco called the Farallons the Islands of the Dead, believing them to be the home of evil spirits, and there is no record of them ever having ventured out there. The first people known to have actually gone to the Farallons were Spanish explorers. First during the expedition of Juan Cabrillo in 1542 when the first European explorers set eyes on them, and then in the early 17th century aboard the expedition led by Sebastián Vizcaíno in 1603 when the islands were actually charted and given their name. The Farallons' name comes from the Spanish farallones, meaning cliffs, and the islands are actually outcroppings of the Selenian block on the edge of the Pacific tectonic plate. They are all that remains above sea level on this former plain which was once dry land before the last glacial maximum ended about 18,000 years ago. At that point, the whole region began to slowly flood with seawater over the ensuing 12,000 years until it turned out the way it looks today. I live at Ocean Beach and often think about how this place would have looked with the lower sea levels of the Pleistocene era. Perhaps you could watch as the occasional short-faced bear or saber-toothed tiger or a herd of woolly mammoths pass by between the dunes of the beach and the peaks of the Farallons. An ordinary day 20,000 years ago right here must have been a sight to behold. You can look up Ice Age Bay Area on KQED if you want to dive deeper into prehistoric San Francisco. It's pretty fascinating. Just a few miles west of the islands is the continental shelf where the escarpment under the waves causes the ocean floor to descend from only a few hundred feet to many thousands of feet. If you've ever seen a map or simulation of the globe without the oceans, it punctuates how accurate it was for the Spanish explorers to name these islands the cliffs. Here's an animation from UC Berkeley depicting how the sea level change most likely happened from the Pleistocene up until the current era. On top of southeast Farallon Island is the Farallon Island Light, which is a lighthouse that was built in 1855. It can be seen on clear nights from the mainland. This is one of the highest elevation lighthouses on the west coast at over 358 feet above sea level. If you can see the rotating beacon 27 miles away, flashing toward Ocean Beach at roughly 11-second intervals, you can tell the visibility is pretty good that evening. In the 19th century, the maritime fur trade was at its peak in San Francisco. Seal hunters from New England and later Russia maintained sealing stations on the islands throughout the mid-1800s up to the point of decimating the populations of numerous fur seal species. Later on, during the gold rush with food shortages in San Francisco as the population grew, there was also the infamous Egg War in 1863. The Egg War was the culmination of the conflict between rival private companies who had made big business out of harvesting bird eggs from the Farallons, at its peak about 500,000 eggs per month. This nearly wiped out the common murre population on the islands. The egg harvesting continued until private companies were finally forbidden from having outposts on the island, as most of the island chain was eventually deemed a wildlife sanctuary in 1909 by President Teddy Roosevelt, with Southeast Farallon Island having been included in 1969. Then later into the 20th century, toxic waste dumping took place within the vicinity of the Farallons until this practice was finally ended in 1970. So as you can tell, there's been a lot of progress made since then, and since the latter half of the 20th century, the Farallons have been steadily recovering. Today, the Farallons are full of life and have been largely restored as a habitat that is home to the largest seabird colony in the contiguous United States. The unique upwelling which takes place at these islands creates one of the most biodiverse marine ecosystems on the planet. There are over 390 fish species, 36 marine mammal species, and 330 invertebrate species within the sanctuary. Among these, and typically the easiest for visitors to see, are the various pinnipeds such as sea lions, elephant seals, and fur seals. There are also cetaceans like humpback and gray whales, dolphins and porpoises, and blue whales, the largest animal on the planet, just to name a few. And all have their different migratory seasons, so it's worth coming out to the islands at different times of the year to see what you can see. You can see nettles and jellyfish, mola mola, also known as the ocean sunfish, which is the largest bony fish on Earth. Some are the size of a Volkswagen Beetle, and harder to see on most tours, but certainly out there somewhere beneath the waves roams the elusive great white shark, and then fish species ranging from Chinook salmon to thresher sharks, plus sea turtles, and all the way down to the tiniest krill, which is the base of the food chain out here. Being very similar to the Galapagos Islands of South America as an isolated island chain, the Farallons are unlike any other place on Earth and provide an experience much like a safari on the high seas for those who come out for a visit. If you're interested in checking out the Farallons, the Oceanic Society has a fantastic day trip you can go on, while along the way usually encountering humpback whales, sunfish, jellyfish, various seabirds like cormorants, seagulls, albatross, and puffins, and sometimes even a playful pod of dolphins. On board the tour ship, the naturalist guides can tell you anything you want to know about the many animal species you'll see out there, and the trip itself is comfortable considering the often choppy and cold conditions out past the Golden Gate Bridge. Then when you get back about 6 hours later, and typically with an appetite, Ghirardelli Square and Fisherman's Wharf aren't far away. See episode 1 of Today in City for recommendations about where to eat out here. I hope you've enjoyed this brief tour of the Farallons and will be able to come out and visit the islands yourself someday. It's a bucket list item for any outdoors or nature fan, and you'll have a chance to truly connect with this place when you arrive and see how fascinating it really is. This has been Today in the City. I'm Travis Eiler, and we'll see you again soon. Don't miss the upcoming Season 1 finale as we explore the city by the bay during the holidays. That show will be out in early December.